What up, guys? The Bench Buddies are back with my Week 8 NFL Power Rankings. And as you can see below, I got the Cowboys moving up 5 after a dominating performance against the Commanders, and the Jaguars moving down 5 after a very disappointment of a loss in London, getting blown out by the Rams. And 29 through 32, you find the teams that you more than likely are going to find in everyone else's power rankings. Dolphins, awful loss on the road to the Browns. Raiders get skunked by the Chiefs, and they've had the Chiefs number these last few years. Titans play well in the first quarter and a little in the second, and then fade away in the second half as they lose to the Patriots. And then the Jets were in this game. I don't know how, but they still lost, and they're still the only team that doesn't have a win yet as they go on the road to face the Bengals. Titans are on the road at the Colts. Raiders are on a bye, and Dolphins are on the road at the Falcons. Doesn't look good for any of these three teams playing this week. 25 through 28. Texans didn't really get much going on Monday Night Football against the Seahawks in Seattle. They're moving down. Ravens with the bye. Hopefully they can come out and get a win. If not, this season might be a lost cause, even with Lamar coming back this week. Cardinals suffer a tough loss to the Packers at home. I think if Micah Parsons was not playing in this one, they probably win this game. Saints move up to even after a loss to the Bears because I think the Saints team is playing a lot better than the record shows. Spencer Rattler's actually been playing a little better than a lot of people expected. And the beneficiaries are Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed getting a lot of those targets and catches this year. They get the Bucks at home, which always is a great game to watch division rivals. And then you got to watch the Ravens. Like I said, it's a huge game for them. I don't want to say it's a playoff game, but it's going to feel that way. Then the Texans, kind of in a must-win spot against the 49ers, at least if they want to compete in the AFC South. 21 through 24. And the Giants and Commanders, both on NFC East, can still, win the NFC East, especially if the Giants win this week for the second time in 3 weeks over the Eagles. If they can go into Philly and get that win, they're right back in the NFC East race. Commanders, big game for them on the road at the Chiefs because they don't want to fall to 3-5. Mariota looking like he's in line to start this one in Kansas City on Monday night, so that's something to monitor. Bengals look great with Joe Flacco, just throwing the ball pretty much almost every play, it felt like, beating the Steelers on Thursday Night Football in a comeback effort. They get the Jets this week at home, looking to get back to 500. Then you got the Browns, which I think could be an interesting case for an upset pick this week. Going into New England, New England has played well, but the Browns defense has been really good this year. And if the offense can put up 23, 24 points and limit that Patriots offense, I wouldn't be shocked if the Browns are at least in the game late in the fourth. 17 through 20. Cowboys move up, like I said, 5 spots after their dominating win over the Commanders. This game was over before Jayden Daniels even got hurt in this one. They were up, I think, 21 at that point, and this Cowboys offense, if they can score 31 plus, they're going to win probably 80% of the games they play from here on out. Tough test this week as they go to Denver in the high altitude, see if that offense can travel. Panthers are 4-3, first time in what feels like my lifetime since Cam Newton was running the show here in Carolina that this team has been above 500, it feels like, at this point in the season. They get the Bills at home. A big game. I think the Bills have to win that game if they want to really come back and be a part of this AFC playoff picture. Panthers, if they win that game, they're definitely going to put the league on notice in this one. Falcons at 19 move back after their loss to the Niners. They get the Dolphins at home in what should be a good get-right game. Vikings, I don't want to say it's do or die week, but going into LA, facing the Chargers, Carson Wentz probably going to start yet again in this one. The Vikings, they got to figure out how to win these close games because they just can't squeak it by in these last few weeks besides that Steelers game. And they played good enough against the Eagles, but they just couldn't figure out how to stop the passing game, which, they're the only team this year that hasn't been able to stop that passing game for the Eagles. 13 through 16, Jaguars fall out of my top 10, moving from 8 to 13 after a blowout loss in London. They return home for a bye week, so get their mind right coming out of that bye week. Bears at 14 beat the Saints. They're 4-2, and if they can go into Baltimore, and I don't want to say eliminate the Ravens from the playoffs, but it's going to be that kind of game. The Bears are going to get more of my respect in this one. Caleb Williams has been playing great, and this offense is starting to click. The defense is starting to figure it out. Bears could be a scary team here to watch in the second half of the season. The Bills come in at 15 after their bye. I didn't really want to move them. They're still 4-2, very good team. Just not where we thought they would be at this point in the season. I thought maybe 5-1, but they've had some sluggish games where they've lost and haven't looked the best. Especially week one, the comeback, the 15-point comeback late against the Ravens at home. That could be the game we look back at the end of the year and be like, this is the game that kind of, kept them in the running for a 2 seed or a 1 seed when it's all said and done. Steelers, tough loss on Thursday night to the Bengals on the road. Rodgers obviously had a game-winning drive until Flacco stole it from him. And speaking of Rodgers, gets to play the Packers for the first time since he has left Green Bay. It is in Pittsburgh, Sunday Night Football, must-see TV. 9 through 12, Eagles move up one, Broncos move up one, Patriots move up three, Chargers stay put. Eagles, Broncos, Patriots all win. Eagles did what they wanted in this one on offense, and that was good to see this Eagles offense really clicking. Now, this week, I expect them to be a heavy ground game against the Giants. They look to get revenge from a week and a half ago. Broncos beat those Giants. I don't know how. Somehow they scored 33 in the fourth and won this game. That just blows my mind. So they crack the top 10 this week as they get the Cowboys. Patriots dismantle the Titans in the second half to get that win. Drake Mays looked great. Their schedule's been really easy. Like I said, this could be a trap game for the Patriots here at home. Then the Chargers get those Vikings there I was just talking about after I lost to the Colts. It's a big game for both these teams. Obviously, Chargers win this one, they go to 5-3. If they lose, they get back to 500. Vikings going above or below 500 this week with whatever result is in this game. So these two teams right in the middle there fighting for, a wild card spot currently. 5 through 8, you get four NFC teams. Lions beat the Bucks. That's why they are ahead of the Bucks here. Seahawks win. It wasn't the prettiest game, but it's still a win, and they're staying at 7. And then the Niners at 8 after their win over the Falcons on Sunday Night Football in the Christian McCaffrey show. Lions have been playing some really good football after week 1. That's why they're here in my top 5. Bucks fall from 1 to 6 after just a bad loss in this one. They lose Mike Evans for a broken collarbone almost, if not the whole season. The whole receiver room is depleted at this point, but Tez Johnson has stepped up, Ibuka has stepped up, and they're just going to keep on finding guys to make plays for Baker Mayfield going forward. And then, like I said, the Niners, the Christian McCaffrey game for outdueled Bijan to get that win. They get the Texans on the road, and somehow the Texans are favored at home. I don't understand it. Everybody keeps doubting this Niners team, but have we not learned our lesson the last 5 years under Kyle Shanahan that this Niners team is going to find their way to probably a 13-4 record this year? Let's be honest, maybe 12-5. Then 1 through 4, something I would have never imagined this year is putting the Colts at number 1. But here we are. They're 6-1, playing some really good football. Go into LA, not at home. Go into LA and dominate the Chargers. They win by 14. Daniel Jones played great. Jonathan Taylor has a case for MVP this year, the way he has been playing football. And they get one of the worst teams in football, the Titans, at home this week. And I would assume they're probably favored by almost 2 touchdowns in this one at home. And the Colts just keep on rolling. Rams at 2. They go overseas late. That was the big story. They got there less than 24 hours before kickoff. Didn't matter. No jet lag. 35-7 win as Matthew Stafford throws for 5 touchdowns, 3 of them to Davante Adams as they return home for a bye week. And I don't think they could be much happier with where they are currently. Chiefs at 3, they blank the Raiders, which is, I'm sure, a great feeling because this Chiefs team has struggled with the Raiders these last few years. But in this one, it was not even a game. Rashee Rice returns from his 6-game suspension, 2 touchdowns, few catches. Looks great, like they haven't even missed him as they get the Commanders on Monday night. And like I said, my Packers facing the Steelers in Pittsburgh, face Rodgers for the first time since he left, and must-see TV. Like I said, it's going to be one of those games where I'm sure the emotions are going to be running high for those first few drives for both teams, but end of the day, it's just another game for Rodgers. A lot of Packers, old Packers, they're cheering for the Packers, rooting for Rodgers to do great. One of those situations, just must-see football. And the Packers last week, they win that game with Mike Parsons. They lose it without him. I'm convinced on it. The way he, just dismantled Jacoby Brissett, and really got him out of his rhythm all game was the reason why the Packers won this game. And Matt LaFleur finally going for it on 4th down and it actually working late in the fourth leads to that touchdown for them to take the lead and to hold the lead and win. That was the difference here in this one. That's it for week 8. Come back next week to see where your favorite team ranks. Hit that subscribe button or not. I don't really care if you do, but it would be nice if you did. Till then, Bench Buddies are out.